You are tuned in. You are tuned in to 50/50 News on the House of the Princess channel, hosted by Princess A.V, featuring world, local, celebrity, and YouTube news. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell as I give you the traditional news with a small twist of ratchet. Let's go. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to 50/50 News. Oh, wait, I can't even put it off stream because I got something else going on. At the House of the Princess, if this is your first time, welcome. I ask everybody to go and press that like button while you're on the way in. Also, press the subscribe button, and that way you could be a member of my community here at the House of the Princess. You will be a royal citizen. But if you press that join button that's right next to the subscribe button or down in the description box, you will be a legal card-carrying royal citizen here at the House of the Princess. So I do appreciate everybody coming today. I am late. I was going to do this at least an hour earlier because I got to get my tail down to the little employment site. So this will be a very condensed version. I didn't feel like doing it later. So I thank everybody that's coming in. Share, like, and share. Share, like, tell somebody that needs to come on in here and get this knowledge that it's going to happen. I'm going to give it to you. I'm not feeling my best, but I'm feeling good enough. I think with these allergies and the medication I'm taking, or I have taken in the past, it has affected my eyesight. And then that makes this lazy eye even more lazier. So I'm light sensitive. The weather is bad. So last night I wanted to lay down. And today I'm feeling, yeah. So later on, I'm going to try to get some more rest. But also, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me through any one of these catalysts. This is my email. This is my Facebook inbox. This is my inbox to my IG. Also, support the channel. Either become a member or you can give a cash app if you would like the Zelle, the PayPal, or the Venmo. We can make that available to you somewhere across here. I don't have it on this, so I have to upload it. But, oh, there it is. Boom. Is it going to come up? Oh, there it is. There it is. There's other ways to contact me as well. And I do have a website, hausoftheeprincess.com. So I appreciate all of you for coming out. As I said, this will be a condensed version of the news, my shorter morning versions that I'll also be doing on Mondays. So, hey, Cotty, Black Diamond, Nola, Kathy, Astute. Okay, that's all who's in the chat right now. But that's quite good enough for me. I know we'll get some good replays, and some other people will drop in as we go along. So, hey, Silver Diamond, without further ado, so I can get this thing going, this train will be going very quickly. We're going to start off, of course, with local news. All righty then. So we're going to do local Chicagoland metropolitan area news. Okay, and our first story is brought to you by, I believe, CBS. It was a local bank robbery down on the near west side. So I think it's just south side with west streets, okay? We're going to hear from CBS News before you go back to bed. This one be really quick. They got away with $100,000. So let's see what they're talking about here.
Customers and employees at a Westside Bank forced to the floor during a robbery. CBS 2's Meredith Berg is on that scene. And Meredith, these days we hear had an unusual disguise.
Marie, Chicago police and the FBI now investigating the robbery at this Chase Bank. Per police radio traffic, whoever robbed this bank got away with a lot of money.
They said robbed about 100K. Oh, okay, 100K.
$100,000 was taken, according to what you just heard. Police radio reporting that the robbers were wearing some type of security guard uniform when they took the money. Detectives were on scene all afternoon, interviewing witnesses, looking at evidence, and figuring out how the robbers got that money.
Already on it.
The actual security guard here was punching in the code to get in the back room, and then that's when they bum rushed her and put everybody on the floor and got to that back vault.
Chase Bank tells me that all customers and employees that were inside during the robbery are okay. No word on whether a gun was used. Reporting live on the Near West.
Let me tell you, these thieves are getting more and more creative by the day. Now, I wish that people would just put some of that same energy into doing positive things in our community, us working together, raising your kids, doing some shit that's worth doing. Most money is marked. It's gonna be something they ain't gonna get away too far, but we'll see. So yeah, that's a lot of money. I'm glad nobody got hurt. That's the most important part. But yeah, that somebody helped them. Security outfits, yeah, that's what's good. And hey, cuz our next story, last week I didn't get a chance to report it. There was a shooting in Rosemont at the Fashion Outlets Mall of Chicago. They have found a suspect. They're looking for him, but they have identified the suspect. So here's the background on that story.
Very thankful to be home, safe and alive with my husband and daughters and grandchildren. And I grieve for the young man who didn't get to go home.
It's a harsh reality of American life, the possibility of gun violence anywhere you go.
Shoppers in Rosemont found themselves facing that fear Friday night.
And tonight, the hunt for a suspect continues. Tia Ewing is live with more. Tia.
Well, Rosemont police say they believe they know exactly who they're looking for. They say surveillance video and also witness testimony has them pointed in the right direction to who the shooter is. And tonight, they're on the hunt for him.
There's about 20 of us hiding in a back room of a store.
That's Suzanne from Minnesota, trapped for 2 hours inside of a store here at the Fashion Outlets of Chicago in Rosemont after fleeing for cover during a shooting.
There was just this thunderous roar, and everybody started running.
Inside the mall, Suzanne and her friend from Chicago, along with other customers, were evacuated by police. She captured this image of where the shooting took place.
I grieve for the young man who lost his life and whose blood I saw on the floor. He was somebody's son and somebody's brother maybe, and he's gone.
Rosemont police say 20-year-old Joel Valdez lost his life after an argument between Valdez and this man, 18-year-old Jose Matias. Police say the two didn't know one another. They also say he's been identified as the shooter based on witness testimony and a review of surveillance video. They've issued a search warrant for him, but he's still on the run. A 15-year-old girl was an innocent bystander. She was shot in the wrist. Suzanne was taken to a reunification site, but they had to leave behind their car as police looked for the shooter Friday night. Though over, the experience has left Suzanne traumatized.
I found myself looking for places to hide. Whoa, I'm looking at the luggage and thinking, I could get in behind that luggage.
Now, that 2008 maroon Honda that Matias was in was located in Bellwood, but again, police are still searching for him tonight. Live tonight, Tia Ewing, Fox 30.
Yet again, I'm reporting a story about some of y'all's raggedy ass kids wreaking havoc on working people, on regular people trying to live their life. He has fucked up his whole entire life for an altercation with somebody he didn't know. Sounds familiar of things going on here too with grown folks, because it starts there. Grown old folks ain't got no sense. You raise up children that ain't got no motherfucking sense. Out here in Rosemont, that is out by the airport. That is where our light-skinned brothers and sisters run things and rule things. That's where I work at on my internship. they're not used to that type of activity. You know, sometimes you go to those areas when you don't want to be bothered with the hood people. Seems like you can't go nowhere now because a treachery and agents of chaos is everywhere. Bellwood is about, well, that's out west from Rosemont, 15-20 minutes. But what are you doing there? That's also, they have quite a few like kind of high-end stores in that mall. You can't go anywhere. What kind of monsters are we raising? And I say we because it's our generation. My youngest is 18. I promise you I'll turn it in, but guess what? I probably beat the fuck out of her before she go out and do some shit like that. And I'm sorry for those you can't call child abuse on me. You can think whatever you want to think. You can unsubscribe. But if we were disciplining our children in some type of way and instilling them morals, sensitivity about other people's lives, then we wouldn't be in here in this predicament. They don't know the story about the man keeping them down as much as maybe we may know. They have all the opportunity in the world. And these are the choices they make. So it's something far deeper than, oh, we ain't got no money. Oh, we ain't got this and we ain't got that. Because shit, half of everything we had to work doubly hard for is handed to them. And then they go and take somebody's life. Because what, you stepped on my toe or you disrespected me, bro. Man, get the fuck out of here. Hey, I know all y'all sitting up here at work. Maybe you got a little wine in your cranberry juice like I got. Put a little Bailey's Irish cream in your coffee, okay? It's only Wednesday, though, so, you know, hump day. Maybe you hump. Look, can y'all hear this rain out here? Because it's heavy. Look, that makes me want to hump, but that's a whole nother show. Well, let's keep it going. Our next story is down to the Midway airport on the other side of town. A man was caught jumping onto the tarmac where he breached security. Let's hear about this from Fox 32, CBS News.
Stunned air traffic controllers and pilots the moment a man breached security at Midway and tried to stop a private jet from taking off. Our Marissa Perlman live at Midway Airport with all the drama. Marissa.
Well, Brad, police say that man managed to scale that barbed wire fence behind me. Brad, that's about 10 to 12 feet high, and make it onto the tarmac. But police also say that same man left his shirt, his shoes, and even his pants behind.
A security breach at Midway sends first responders scrambling.
There appears to be a person, unauthorized person, while going across into the safety area 13 Center right now.
And that was just the beginning of this bizarre exchange. Police say just before 5, a 33-year-old man jumped this fence, made his way onto the tarmac, and tried to stop a plane from taking off. But then he took off his clothes.
This guy is stripping butt naked right now.
No shirt, no shoes, just his jacket blowing in the wind on the barbed wire fence. Police say the man appeared to be intoxicated as he started walking towards a small private jet. On the air traffic control scanner, you hear the pilot, who was just cleared for takeoff, react as the suspect tries climbing onto the wing of his plane.
He's out there at the front of the jet like he's trying to get in. Yeah, our door's open here. They have the victim on the ground here. He's giving them fits.
The plane eventually allowed to take off once again. Video from above shows police, fire, and canine officers on scene searching the perimeter. CPD says the suspect was quickly apprehended and taken to an area hospital for a mental evaluation.
It's not clear if that suspect will face any charges or what those charges will be. Meanwhile, no other flights were interrupted during the course of this investigation. We're live at Midway Airport.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, his dangle was dangling. You know, he had to be out his motherfucking mind, okay? Something in order to achieve this. And I feel somebody will sleep on the job. Now, when I drove limousine buses, I've had to drive onto the tarmac a couple of times to pick up people because they didn't want to walk from the plane. to the door, and it's not that damn far. It's not. That's rich people's privilege or executives' privilege or whatever. So those who live in Chicago know the area. You have the airport. That's what everybody sees. But if you go further west, it's way back behind the airport is where the private planes take off and go down. And it's really short. It's not quite around the big planes at all. Maybe somebody was asleep sitting there because it's hard to get in there, and he had to be fast as hell to climb up a gate with barbed wire and then jump down and take all his clothes off. Something was not right with the man. They did do 24-hour psych eval. They're still doing updates on that, as I heard this morning on the news. Yeah, he's crazy, or he was on some ooh-wee drugs. That's all I can say about that. This is unfortunate. It's weird that he would want to jump on a plane. That sound like he was doing some super cracks and meth, like them things that make you just completely go out your body, and or he already had a psychiatric problem prior to. But it must have been something weird that would make him do that over down to the airport. But he didn't completely disrupt the whole airport. But I pray that he is okay mentally. Like, that's a lot to go through. Our next story is there was 2 officers shot. 2 officers shot in a call, and one of them was run over. We're gonna do some background. A lot of officers have been shot. It was warm. It wasn't even all that warm, Cotty. It was like 40 something yesterday. Now it's warm today. It's 65, but that's something. It's crazy. Okay. Police. They shoot the police. People ain't even scared to shoot the police no more. It's crazy.
Now to a CBS 2 investigation into a growing trend. Just 3 months into 2022, 11 Chicago police officers have been shot or shot at.
The latest shooting happening just last night. An officer shot in the finger during a traffic stop on the city's west side. CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey is July 4th at Stroger Hospital, where he and another officer are recovering. Megan, I know you've been digging into why we are seeing this happen more often.
Right, Brad and Marie, not just here, but across the country, crime policy experts are pointing to more hours on the street and a growing lack of trust. Take a look at the video first posted by 16th and 17th District Chicago Police Scanner on Twitter, which shows the driver accelerate, pinning an officer between the driver's car and an unmarked police car. Another officer fights to drag the driver out of the car. Shots were exchanged. One of the officers and the driver were struck. According to Superintendent David Brown, more and more officers are getting shot at.
It's been a 550 over the last 2 years of officers being shot at or shot. It is the most dangerous time to be the police officer.
When we asked CPD to clarify between what dates there's been a 500% jump, they didn't answer. But he might be onto something. Take a look at the number of officers shot or shot at. In 2017, just 20 officers. In 2020, that number soared to 80 officers. Last year came close with 76.
Police officers have been a lot more exposed to risk.
Northwestern University's Wesley Scogan, a crime policy and policing expert, tells me the pandemic brought mandatory overtime, canceled vacation, and longer shifts, which create more opportunities for these types of shootings. And it's not just the city. In December, the National Fraternal Order of Police published data showing that Illinois was second, only behind Texas, when it came to the number of officers shot in the line of duty last year.
This is right. We have an officer and an offender shot over here.
Another culprit, Scogan also points to a growing sense of mistrust with law enforcement.
When people lose trust, they stop paying attention when they're told to do things. And there's sort of inhibitions to act out whatever it is they're acting out, which they're acting out all over the place.
Now back to that 500% figure, we couldn't quite find evidence of that, but there was a 264% jump in the number of officers shot or shot at between the years 2019 and 2020. Marie?
Megan, what is CPD saying about what looks like this trend?
We did ask today, and CPD wouldn't comment specifically, but Superintendent Brown said this is the most dangerous time to be a police officer, and the experts we spoke to agreed.
Question, we'll continue to watch those numbers. I know CPD will too. Thank you so much, Megan.
The war in Ukraine and Russia.
You know what was ironic about that we're second behind Texas? Our new chief of police came from Dallas. So yeah, they in Texas open carry, like they don't give no fudge, you know. Unfortunately, these kids, they don't care nothing about nothing. They're not afraid of their life. They're not afraid of killing nobody. They're not afraid of doing anything. Then to boot, because of the vaccination issue, almost a third of the police, my numbers may be skewed. A third of police, they either refuse to get vaccinated or they won't divulge their vaccination status, and now they're being asked to be released from their job. So it's less and less police on the street. So yeah, we're gonna die, okay? Or they're gonna die. They've let the agents of chaos go ahead and let in and let have y'all badass kids, okay? With no future and no hope, okay? But those of you who may be on the replay or just coming in, you are watching 50/50 News with Princess A.V. Here at the House of the Princess. I ask that you support the channel by becoming a member, sending a super chat, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or a Zelle. It keeps the lights and the internets on. And let me tell you, I was sitting here that's why I was late, trying to finally get some of my taxes done, child. I done put out a lot of money on this channel and these businesses, honey. It's interesting in what you can bring in versus what you, put out and recoup. But I love y'all. I do it for the love, and I know eventually I'm going to be super comfortable, you know. But I done put in the work, and I thank y'all for being here. Please like and share. Okay, follow me on all social medias where you can find me, Princess A.V. Okay. Now our next segment is, I told you we was going to be moving fast today. Worldwide and national news. Because I got to get to the place. I really said I was going to be early and be there at 12 usually, but I ain't got there yet. I'll get it. So, of course, we have to update on what's going on with Vladimir Putin and Ukraine. They're talking about pulling away from Kiev, and the president of Ukraine is feeling like Putin on some BS, but we'll see what his new strategy is in them making peace with this.
Russia now saying tonight that they will drastically reduce combat operations around the capital of Kyiv and in the northern city of Chernihiv, though adding it is not a ceasefire. President Biden responding tonight saying we'll see what their actions are, and how the Pentagon now sees this tonight, what they said. Just moments ago, Ukraine's President Zelensky responding to the Russians as well. This all comes after talks between Russia and Ukraine in Istanbul today, the first in-person negotiations in 2 weeks. But even as they talked, Russian missiles continued to fall, one slicing through the air in Mykolaiv near the Black Sea, then smoke from an explosion. That missile punching a hole in this regional government building there. Emergency officials rescuing people from the rubble. They say at least 12 people were killed and dozens injured. And another stunning image of war near Kyiv tonight. This is what is left of a food warehouse, everything destroyed. The humanitarian crisis, of course, growing tonight. This evening here, what Russia is now claiming, the U.S. response, and what President Zelensky said just before we came on the air tonight. ABC's James Longman leading us off from Kyiv.
Tonight, Russia now signaling a major shift in strategy. Following direct face-to-face peace talks today in Turkey, the Kremlin is now saying for the first time that it will drastically reduce combat operations around the capital of Kyiv and Chernihiv in the north, but later adding that does not mean a ceasefire. Ukrainian soldiers won't be dropping their guard. The White House tonight saying they are seeing Russian troops move away from Kyiv, but stressed they believe the movement is a redeployment, not a withdrawal. Tonight, President Biden speaking with European leaders, greeting Russia's promise skeptically.
We'll see.
I don't read anything into it until I see what their actions are. We'll see if they follow through on what they're suggesting.
And tonight, the Pentagon is hardly convinced the Russians mean what they say.
We're not taking anything they say at face value. We're not prepared to buy the Russian argument that it's a withdrawal. Again, our assessment is that their intention is to reposition forces and bolster their efforts elsewhere.
Tonight, Russian troops are here, just 15 miles from the center of Kyiv to the north, west, and east. Over 10 incidents of Russian shelling into residential areas were reported near the city today. If they do pull back, they may redeploy here to the eastern Donbass region, which today they said they want to liberate. That sets up the next phase of this bloody war, and not something Ukraine would accept as part of any deal. Both sides also suggesting a meeting is possible between Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky, but only when an agreement is signed. Ukraine tonight calling for a new system of legally binding security guarantees. So if the country is attacked in the future, there's a treaty in place similar to NATO's Article 5, where guarantor countries, including the US, will be legally obligated to provide weapons and impose a no-fly zone. In exchange, and once Russian troops are gone, Ukraine would agree to become a non-nuclear neutral state. The war still raging. Russia today striking the city of Mykolaiv in the south. New video seen here in slow motion shows the moment of impact when a missile slams into a government building. It killed at least 12 people, dozens more were injured. And the humanitarian crisis worsening by the day. Nearly 4 million people have left Ukraine. Olga Zakrevsku evacuated Kyiv when missiles struck too close to home.
It keeps going on in my head. Why children are dying? They go on dying. Only one person wants this war.
While Lindsay Davis met her in Poland, where she fled with her mother, mother-in-law, and young son, who's trying to keep a brave face through it all. And tonight, Olga's hope for her country.
I want to see that peace above our heads. I want to see children stop dying. And I want to wake up from this nightmare.
Extremely moving interview. We cannot forget about this humanitarian crisis, and James Longman with us from Kyiv tonight. James, we know Russia's new claim that it's going to scale back attacks near the capital. President Biden, the Pentagon reacting, saying their actions will be far more important than their words when it comes to Russia, of course. And you reported in late this afternoon to us that you continue to hear explosions around the capital.
Yeah, David, for the last few hours, we've heard the repeated sound of artillery slamming into Kiev's suburbs. Remember, Russia has specifically not agreed to a ceasefire, so there's every chance they'll continue to bombard Ukraine, even if they move troops around the country. And tonight, President Zelensky, with yet more powerful words on Russian peace signals, he said they do not silence the explosion of Russian shells. David?
All right, James Longman in Kyiv tonight. Our thanks to you, James, and to Lindsay Davis over the border in Poland.
Baby, I don't know if you could pay me enough to be over there doing journalism and they sitting up there popping bombs over Baghdad. No, ma'am. I might get fired. It's just not my judge, but we don't see a whole bunch of black people over there doing that stuff either. But nonetheless, you know, Putin is a motherfucker. She's right. He's the only person that really wants this war on the outward sense. Okay, because there's a lot of palms that get grease in this, but this war is senseless and unnecessary, and it's just, you know, your heart has literally been taken out of you, and your soul is to wreak all of this havoc and be an agent of chaos and take all of these people's lives for no reason. Did you catch when he said, we're liberating? How are you liberating somebody who never asked to be free? You know, that's not in captivity. Like, man, they should have done something about this cat a long time ago, but they can't even touch him. Like, they literally can't get to him. Like, this is terrible. Hey, Janet Bay and Kimmy. They wouldn't let black leave the country if they did right. And since I've really thought about how racist Ukrainians are against black people, we knew Russians were. It's even more hard. You know, I care about the humanity part, but, you know, I wouldn't be breaking my neck to go over there either. Our next story, they'll be able to touch me. He won't be in that country. Right. Our next story is the follow-up to the death of a 14-year-old boy in an Orlando ride. So we're going to go here. I think it's CBS News or NBC News, and hear the follow-up.
Tonight, new details emerging in the tragic death of 14-year-old Tyree Sampson, who fell from an Orlando freefall ride last Thursday. NBC News has obtained the operation manual for the drop tower, released by the state, which reads in part, "Be careful when seeing if large gas fit into the seats. Check that they fit within the contours of the seat and the bracket fits properly. If this is not so, do not let this person ride." The ride's weight limit, per the manual, is 130 kilograms, or around 287 pounds. According to Sampson's father, the boy was 325 pounds. His cousin, now petitioning to have the ride closed permanently, says Sampson had already been turned away that night from 2 other rides because of his weight.
I would run for y'all to hurt his little feelings and tell him not to get on and see his life would have been still here.
Slingshot Group operates the Orlando Freefall, along with another ride at Icon Park. They have not yet commented on the weight restrictions or Sampson being blocked from other rides. But last week, the group saying it's cooperating with authorities on the investigation and heartbroken.
Safety is first for both our guests and our employees, and I've never encountered anything like this. So we are devastated.
Both rides at Icon Park operated by Slingshot are currently being examined. For family members and friends, a memorial builds along the attraction, now obscured in black mesh, as they process the shocking loss.
The herpes thing I had to do was clean his blood up. They didn't even clean it. They left it there and I had to get it up.
The boy's father, overcome with grief.
It's still the worst day of my life. It ain't gonna stop.
Sampson's family has retained high-profile attorneys Benjamin Crump and Bob Hilliard to represent them. Hilliard telling the AP in an interview, this is going to be a straight-up negligence case.
There has to be redundancies. It has to be more than a 16-year-old minimum wage kid walking around checking whether or not your harness works.
We, again, go around to each individual and we ensure that that harness is locked in. And if it's not locked in, the ride will not operate.
On Saturday, singer Dolly Parton's theme park, Dollywood, announced it would shut down a similar ride developed by the manufacturer of Orlando Freefall. As for now, Sampson's family can only mourn while they await answers to their many questions.
And I just appreciate I had him as my son. I wish I was here to tell him I love him.
All right, Sam joins us now from Florida. Sam, what else do we know about the warnings and the safety procedures, essentially the safety record of that ride?
So, Tom, there was a whole batch of state records that were released today. We found out that the operator for the ride was trained on February 21st, which is just about a month before this tragedy happened. We also found out from the initial accident report that the harness itself was in a locked position down after the ride stopped, but clearly Sampson was still able to get out. And our reporters on the ground there for WESH, which is the Orlando NBC affiliate, so they can find signs that say that there are height restrictions, height rules, nothing about weight, Tom.
Wow, that's really interesting. It's weird that it locked in, and yet he still somehow slipped out, being as large as he was. What's the status of that ride right now?
So that ride, plus a second ride, a slingshot, or the slingshot is what it's called, both of them are shut down indefinitely right now. That decision comes from Icon Park. The way that it's constructed, it's essentially contracted. It's not a large theme park company. It's individual contractors that run the rides. Those 2 rides operated by Slingshot shut indefinitely until they're deemed to be safe. Right now, the Florida Department of Agriculture is investigating at this moment.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top story.
I got a whole stint on this, but I'm just going to say a little bit. First of all, mentally and age-wise, that's a little boy, 14. But body-wise, he's huge. And he's still in his growth stage. My boyfriend is 305 pounds. And so he's bigger than my grown man boyfriend. And he fits in nothing. Like, he makes fun of me because he's like, well, how do you reach things? Because he just go like this. I have to get up on chairs and ladders and everything to reach things. He can't fit into compact spaces, no small nothing. He can sit in chairs, yes, but you know, if you got a weak ass chair, he ain't finna sit in it, okay? If it's too small, little compact, you can't get him in no smart car. None of these things like that. So there are things that are indicative. So he probably was definitely too big to ride that ride. Now they talking about, oh, it was locked. Of course it was locked. This is my theory. His ass slid out that fucking ride and he didn't feel secure on the way up. And with the centrifugal force of the ride coming down, he's out of it. So the thing locked when he got out of it. Yeah. If it's not locked, it doesn't come on. It could have been touching and not completely secure, because y'all been, I got titties. If I'm in a ride and baby, I be checking. If they got to push and smash and groove, I'm sure they had to do that for him. I like rides, but I won't be riding no shit like that. I'm good. And that boy lost his life. You're not gonna tell me it's not negligence. It's an accident. Yes, it's an accident, but don't nobody want to pay them millions of dollars. I hope that family gets their just due and they get the truth of what's happening. Our next story is President Joe Biden has signed the Emmett Law into fruition, so they can't hang us no more.
Joe Biden signed into law the first federal legislation to make lynching a hate crime, addressing a history of racist killings in the United States.
Their crimes, trying to vote, trying to go to school, trying to own a business, or preach the gospel. False accusations of murder, arson, and robbery. Simply being black.
The law is named for Emmett Till, a 14-year-old black boy who was brutally murdered in Mississippi in 1955. The bill makes it possible to prosecute any conspiracy to commit a hate crime that results in death or serious bodily injury as a lynching. Till's death and an all-white jury's dismissal of charges against two white men who later confessed to his killing drew national attention to the atrocities and violence that Black Americans face and became a civil rights rallying cry. Vice President Kamala Harris, the country's first Black and Asian American vice president, co-sponsored the bill while serving as a U.S. Senator from California.
Lynching is not a relic of the past. Racial acts of terror still occur in our nation. And when they do, we must all have the courage to name them and hold the perpetrators to account.
In August, the FBI said the number of hate crimes in the United States had risen the previous year to the highest level in more than a decade, driven by a rise in assaults against Black and Asian victims. The bill passed the Senate by unanimous consent and the House of Representatives by a vote of 422 to 3.
Congress might do something.
You know, I don't have much to say about this silly shit. It's 2022. We just now addressing lynching. Yeah, okay. Like we supposed to jump for joy behind that bullshit. You might get a lynching here and there, but they'll shoot us in the face or lay on our backs till we piss on ourselves and can't breathe, or break into our houses and have guns drawn in our faces, or arrest us illegally, unconstitutional like. But we got an anti-lynching law. Yeah, okay. Hey, Rocket with the truth. Man, that's a whole nother conversation. And last for our national news is a story of Clarence Thomas. I didn't even know this man had a white wife. Shouts out to Anita Hill, but that's a whole nother conversation. She apparently is a supporter of Mr. Trump and was called to testify that she had something to do with wanting to recant the election of 2020. Y'all messing with the folks, the man's job. All right, here we go.
We begin with the reports of this cover-up inside the Trump White House, based on what Nicole and I were just discussing, which is there is a probe that has been quite effective at overturning all kinds of evidence from that fateful day of the insurrection. There is, though, they have now discovered an over 7-hour gap in the formal, official, legally required White House phone logs that went over to Select Committee. So basically from about 11 a.m. in the morning till just approaching 7 p.m., which is, of course, the key time that everything went down, from the Stop the Steal rally to the insurrection to the violence. Well, that's when they're missing the White House logs. This is from Washington Post reporting. We also know House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy was calling Trump that afternoon. That's during this now missing period. He was, as the top Republican in the House, urging Donald Trump to stop his supporters who were running around attacking officers and demanding political assassinations. We know that even Senator Mike Lee got an accidental call from Trump while the Capitol was under attack. Trump had thought at the time that he was calling someone else that was closer to him, Senator Tuberville, who reached Lee instead. He said, "Oh, hi, Mike, I called Tommy," which is important here because it reminds you that we already know Donald Trump was using a phone to call a bunch of people that's missing from this very suspicious empty log that was handed over to the Congress. There's also new questions about whether he used some other means or a burner phone to communicate. Also today, Jared Kushner, we're hearing, will talk to the January 6th committee this week on Thursday. It'll be a virtual interview. And that is also of a piece with what Nicole and I were just discussing, that 700 plus people are cooperating, which means the committee has all kinds of rich and sometimes damning information. Then there are those who stonewall. And that brings us to a big story that we've been covering from the start on the beat by going to the sources and getting you all the information and facts we can gather. It was last night. You see the scene here as the January 6th committee held contempt proceedings and ultimately voted unanimously to hold 2 Trump aides in contempt for outright and rank defiance. One was a digital aide, Dan Scavino. The other is Peter Navarro. Now, in that hearing last night, committee members were quite clear, candid, and blunt about why those Trump aides must face consequences.
Peter Navarro's testimony is integral to our investigation. The former president trusted Mr. Navarro as a spokesman and confidant.
Mr. Navarro insists that he is above the law.
This is America, and there's no executive privilege here for presidents, much less trade advisors, to plot coups.
There are many reasons why this blanket assertion of executive privilege lacks merit, as a matter of law and as a matter of common sense.
What?
I can't play this whole one.
Mr. Navarro, are you covering?
Was this the wrong one?
Who are you covering?
And it's 20 minutes long.
Who are you covering for?
And I don't know how I got in
Especially
here.
when you think about what I just mentioned. The president's own top aide and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is testifying. So why can't you share what you're doing? And that brings to that key moment from inside the room, a bit of history unfolding. It's what Nicole Wallace mentioned. Peter
Okay,
Navarro
so
has been
we're
claiming
going to
his
switch
his
up.
assertion of his own executive privilege as the reason that he will.
This is the whole long video, so let me take that out. Sorry. I don't know how the hell that happened.
We begin with the reports of this.
Instead of the 3-minute piece. That would happen when I'm trying to get out of here. But it happens. Okay, yeah, it says 3 minutes. So why did it play for 19?
Something quite unusual.
Oh,
And
I know why.
A Supreme Court justice's wife testified. We're talking about Jenny Thomas, the wife of Clarence Thomas, because she has been busted for something that is absolutely beyond the pale. Text messages she sent to the chief of staff of the president, Mark Meadows, about overturning the 2020 election results. And the access she had appears to draw on her husband's career. So while she has free speech rights, this one does seem to get really close to inside the Supreme Court. Now, the committee is meeting tonight, just within almost an hour from now. And they are also going to discuss whether to request or potentially try to compel her to face Congress over all of this. Top Democrats also calling for Justice Thomas to recuse, to step aside from any cases that now relate to this area where he has an apparent conflict of interest, the January 6th probe.
I mean, to think that he would consider a case where his wife is frequently contacting the chief of staff for the president and giving advice on matters that are going to be ultimately litigated by the court, that is the ultimate conflict of interest.
These cases are going to come before her husband. This is a textbook case for removing him, recusing him from these decisions.
Even the appearance of impropriety would delegitimize the court. So clearly, Justice Thomas should have recused himself.
Meanwhile, in an unrelated development, Justice Thomas returned to the bench after a week in the hospital with some flu-like symptoms. There hasn't been any mention of the controversy at the court. As for Miss Thomas,
Corona-like symptoms
of additional messages she sent. These are new beyond the first tranche we heard about, where she told a Republican congressional aide that the party needed to fight harder for Trump and be, quote, out in the streets. Her Meadows text chain, I should say, the messages she sent to the chief of staff included calling the lawful victory of Biden a great heist, and saying we were living through the end of America, the end of liberty, and then her instructing Meadows, make a plan, release the Kraken, save us from the left. Ms. Thomas is embroiled in controversy and accusations of conflicts of interest that she basically has not yet really addressed, putting her husband in this position. It's also the kind of wrongdoing that she has previously accused others of. This, for example, was in 2010.
There's a culture of corruption in Washington where dissent is stifled, friends are rewarded, enemies are punished. And in my lifetime, it's never been this bad or this blatant. I'm telling you, there's death threats, there's intimidation, there's very thuggish behavior that is not being reported in the mainstream media.
The context there is the thuggish behavior that she said was secretly happening, that she was aware of but was nowhere in the press, right after Barack Obama became president. And yet, let's be clear, whether you call it thuggish, illegal, or bananas, the texts show her sidebarring in secret with the White House about sending political opponents to Gitmo. Was she serious? Was she joking? Does her husband have anything to say about this in our lawful democracy as they, the Supreme Court, hold judgment over everyone else?
Let me tell you something. Karens, true Karens are real hypocrites, okay? And let me tell you something. White people can fuck you and still be racist against you, okay? And they will not know that they are not racist, allegedly, okay? So, he's married to an R word. Yes. Yes, he's married to a racist. I'll say it for you. But see, those type of racists think they're not racist. They live inside of a bubble that thinks if they do this and this and this, that they are allies to black people. Use a motherfucking lie. Okay. Massa fucked the slaves all the time. Hence why my complexion is not as dark as my daddy's. Mm-hmm. It's a conversation for another day. Yeah, that's talking about it. And this shit slid under the radar. I didn't know nothing about this till I started doing my research, you know. Mm-hmm. So I will see how this goes because I didn't know shit about this lady, even in her existence. Okay. You was with that insurrection shit. If your old motherfucking ass could have been out there, you would have been out there too, ma'am. I don't know who you lying to. So again, yes, thank you for watching. We're almost done because I got to get up out that jam. But I am Princess A.V. You're watching 50/50 News. Okay. Please press that like button and that subscribe button. And I really ask that you join the card-carrying legal citizens of this channel that keep me going. And your membership has benefits better than Visa, okay? you get me and all that I have to offer, okay? And you get camaraderie of the other members, and you get to have a good old color by your name, okay? um so aside from that, I'm going to do these next two segments very, very quickly. Matter of fact, I'm only going to do one on this one. Celebrity news. Originally I was going to do two, but right now we're going to talk about Will Smith. Of course, it's the slap around the world. He slapped the shit up around Chris Rock, if you don't know it by now. And we did a whole video about it on Monday morning. I got my ass up and did it. But guess what? I do not believe that Will should be canceled. Do not take his Oscar, because his Oscar was won for his magnificent acting. It's one of few that is giving to Black people, and I think that he's worked hard over his career and he deserves it. But Chris Rock's sales for his tour has soared, and the ticket prices has went up, so he ain't suffering that fucking hard either. They have a personal relationship, and yeah, I think that slap was personal. So much going on behind the scenes in the alopecia gate and all of that. So yes, it was something big that I had to talk about, but maybe I'll talk about tomorrow, or definitely Friday when we have a full service show. Okay. So that's all I care about the celebrities. It was hard to find celebrity news because that's all the fuck that these people want to talk about, that and Kim K and her asshole. Okay, so yeah, I didn't write it down. I'll talk to you later. Maybe I'll do some shorts and put them up in the meantime. So other than celebrity news, we have YouTube news. And we're going to do something short here. First, I'm going to do the YouTube news will be me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First, I want to say thank you to all the people who have done things for me, given me things, who have sent me things. I have an Amazon wish list. I haven't added anything new to it recently, but everything on there is stuff that I like. That's in the description box if you want to send me something. But I have a few people that look out for me and that send me things off the cuff. And first, I want to thank Lauren. She said something else was attached to it. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'll go check the mail again. She sent me these infinity roses. They look a little pink in the camera, but a little purple in the camera, but they are pink. They are fuchsia, my favorite color. She did not know. They don't have no scent to them, really, other than like a light rose scent. But I've always wanted some of these, and she bought these for me. So I get to keep these like forever, never, never, never. So thank you, Lauren, for the infinity roses, for thinking of me. I do love flowers, and I love rainbow colored roses. And shouts out to Protect My Energy at All Costs. She made me some custom press on nails, okay? And she made a lot of them. Okay. And I cried because these people took their time and their money, but she took the time to hand make these, okay? And to give me the gift of art from her hand and her time. And they're just for me. And they were custom to my personality, my color schemes, all of that. And those are the 50/50s in there, and all the rhinestones and pretty things. So yes, thank you so much. They are gorgeous. And she made so many to make sure that they can fit my hands. So I hope that you can see them and see the colors as best as you can. So thank you, Protect My Energy at all costs, for giving me that. And shouts out to Mama Black Diamond. She heard me say something about that I needed my own tools. And that is what she got me. This is a purple tool bag with the tool sets, honey. With all the little things in it. Oh, heavy. Heavy, 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 heavy. A girl needs some tools, and why not have some pink ones while you're at it? It's got screws and things, Allen wrenches, like all of them. It's a wrench in here, and wrenches and box cutters. Okay. Nippers. Yes, God. Every screwdriver you want in the world. Tape measure. This is a whole heavy set. A hammer. She got that hammer. And this is an adjustable screwdriver with the screws in it and everything. So yes, y'all think about me. I love practical stuff. Yes, I do. I used it all. Thank you so much, Black Diamond. And look, I was just looking at a video of making something, and they had a leveler on it. I was like, did I have a leveler? Well, I got one now, and I know I do. I know I do. So I can't wait when I get back to open that and pack it up in my bag, so then I can take my tools with me when I need to do stuff and when I need to do jobs. So that is wonderful. Yes, it will come in handy. So I thank you so much, Black Diamond, for that. I appreciate you. Okay, I like being different, so I'm going to customize it. I'm going to put my name on a lot of stuff because folks like to steal. Before I get to taking it everywhere, it's going to have Princess A.V. all across of it. It's mine. It's mine. I got it all the time. But yeah, that's mine. So get that being said, I have to skedaddle. I'm a little late for work, so I got to go meet my people and get them in place. So hopefully I can be there. Oh yeah, the glasses. I left them on the table. I'm sorry, I left the glasses on the table. I didn't see it. I still got to go through it. I was running through it, Black Diamond. I still waiting for the special time to have the base note, so it's still in the cabinet. But I'll probably do that soon because we got some occasions coming up that I was holding out for. So yes, to the bridal shower list, I'll send you this. Okay. So I have to go. But reach out to me in any forms of social media. Again, join the channel. I thank y'all for being here. Send a super chat, a cash app, Venmo, PayPal, or Zelle. It's all appreciated. I thank y'all for being here. I thank you for coming. I want y'all to have a great day. Have a good day, the rest of your work day. If you have a lunch, brunch, whatever you're doing, out by the water cooler. Take this please like the video, share it, and subscribe. I appreciate everybody that watches me. I am Princess A.V. You have been watching 50/50 News here at House of the Princess. I appreciate everybody that comes. If nobody has told you that they love you, I love you today. Bye. Have a great day. Be happy on purpose. All right. Bye-bye.